Destin- Station reached. The Groundbreaker.
Let's talk when you're free.
Hey, Captain. I heard that Groundbreaker's got a real good engineer. A lady named Junlei Tennyson? I was thinking that maybe I ought to meet her. If you got time to swing us by, I mean. I don't got much experience fixing actual spaceships. I bet you a can of Borston beans she could teach me all manner of stuff. Thanks, Captain. I'll be sure to make it worth your time. Did you want to talk about something else? Mostly, yeah. I lived in the maintenance office near all my life. Mr. Thompson never let me forget how funny that was. He meant funny as in odd. It's not normal for anyone to do as their parents. You take a vocational test. That decides your schooling and your career. When I tested out for maintenance, everyone figured it was on account of my dad. They were real unhappy with us. Because they were hoping their own kid would get the job and get sent back to Edgewater. When folk go away for schooling, they don't get back to where they begun. Not usually. You go straight to your first job, wherever the company's got an opening. I reckon you could say, no thanks, I don't want a job. But then you don't got a job. Well, they're powerful good tests. They rattled off this whole list of names who'd worked on them, with fancy bits hanging off them. Doctors and esquires and the thirds. Even if you don't believe they actually catch what everybody's best at, everybody's got to take them. So at least it's fair-ish. Abso-surely, Captain. What's on your mind?
I think I'll initiate. An unscheduled rest cycle while you're out.
Captain, if I could trouble you for a moment of your time, while we're on the Groundbreaker, I may have an idea for how we could find a translator. I've been thinking on that. There's a former infamous philosopher scholar who fled Terra 2 some years ago. He's an expert on Bakono. He's also who told me of the journal's presence in Emerald Vale. If anyone in this colony could translate that book, it would be him. That's a good question. Fortunately, we're in the perfect place to start. This is where I'd go if I wanted to get off Terra 2. Great place to pick up a ride to Hephaestus, Scylla, even Monarch. All I need is access to a data cartridge from the security terminal. Their easily hackable system keeps a registry of all crew manifests for both arrivals and departures. I'll comb the last 6 months of departure manifests to track the Philosophist's off-world destination. Before I transferred to Edgewater, I had a wealth of time to develop certain, secular skills during my years serving a particular penitentiary flock. I meditated, led sermons, provided guidance to the inmates as needed, of course. I also played prison yard tossball and taught myself a bit about computronic security systems. Thank you, Captain.
Just checking your ship's manifest. Standard procedure. Welcome to Groundbreaker, by the by.
Captain. Hey, Captain. Up in space. I never thought...
That's not the point. This halfwit just knocked out one of my workers.
Yeah, with a tossball stick. I heard you the first time. There weren't any witnesses.
No witnesses. He's not even denying it.
Jackass had it coming.
Shut it, Felix. You're not making this any better.
You get cute with me again, you little Back Bay brat, I will toss you out an airlock.
This is the Groundbreaker, not Byzantium. You ain't the law here. I am. Now move along.
I don't have time for this. I need a drink.
Going for a stroll around the docking base? Sure was. Got a knack for upsetting the board and the Mardettes all at once. Between you and me, I was hoping they'd come to fisticuffs. I had this foreman, right? Guy never liked me, always trying to get a rise out of me. But I keep my chin up, right? Be the bigger man, I tell myself. He's a Spacer's chosen man, though. So when the Chosen beat my Rangers the other night, my foreman comes swaggering up with his head full of boasting. Exactly. I was only doing what any self-respecting Rangers fan would have done. Look, this was a long time coming. Guy thinks he can push me around because he's some sky-high foreman, and I'm just a back bay's dock worker. Well, former dock worker. Guess I just tendered my resignation. Enjoy my freedom. Scrounged together enough bits for a 0G. Other than that, can't say as I do. Hey, not for nothing, but I saw you wander out of that ship over there by the dock. Wouldn't happen to be yours, would it? Captain of the Unreliable. You're like something out of a serial drama. Hey, I don't want to talk your ears off, guessing you got places to be. I appreciate your time. Felix Millstone. Pleased to make your acquaintance. See you around, boss.
Just arrived? Head over to customs. Wheeler needs to process you. If it wasn't for us, this whole damn station would shut down.
Careful where you smoke. The crew bills us for air filtration. Customs and inspection, right this way! Identification, please. Captain Hawthorne, you said. Let me apologize in advance. I'm about to ruin your day. According...
But we've hardly been out of Edgewater long enough to get in trouble.
Well, isn't this wonderful? The captain's done something to get on the board's bad side.
Now, hold on. This isn't the end of the world. Probably. You'll want to take it up with Udom Bedford, our board representative here on Groundbreaker. His office is located along the starboard wall of the promenade. Shines like a Byzantium commode. You can't miss it. Access to that information is above my pay grade, and I've turned down 3 promotions, so it stays that way. I shouldn't be mentioning it, but what the hell? This here, impounding your ship, it doesn't happen much. The board knows we don't take kindly to their interfering in our operations. If I had to take a guess as to why, you must have riled up someone important. Not gonna lie, you're in a pickle. But Udom's an interesting guy. Might be y'all could come to accords if you play your cards right. Huh. Records show this ain't the first time your ship's been impounded. Seems to get cleared up pretty quick. You might not be in this pickle for long. Oh, and if you're headed that way, would you mind doing me a favor? Wanda Dorset over in sickbay, tell her the shipment's not in yet. It's not coming in anytime soon, and if she'd be so obliged to get off my ass about it. A handful of SAM cleaning units retrofitted for surgery. I don't know much else. I stopped listening when she started yelling. Much appreciated. Is there anything else I can help you with? You noticed, huh? What can I say? We're passionate folks, and the board can't abide that independent spirit, especially not when it might impact their bottom line. All their interstellar freighters come through us, and we skim a few bits off the top in manifest processing fees with every one. Folks around here will bluster that the board hates our freedom, but really, they know we can stop their out-system shipments anytime we like, and that terrifies them. You sure you didn't just step off one of the interstellar freighters? There's no working with the board. They don't share, not bits, people, or resources. You work for them, or you don't work at all. Groundbreaker cooperating now would be tantamount to joining their ranks, and we sure as shit ain't about to do that. Sounds like, yeah. But from where I sit, it's all coming through loud and clear. They got assault cruisers, gunships, and a handful of mining operations at their fingertips. We push them too hard, maybe they decide we'd be better in 10 trillion little pieces. Or they cobble together a new Groundbreaker and put us out of business.
The board wouldn't do that. Would they?
The board is necessary to provide order to the colony. They believe it's their prerogative to overrun you. But whether you allow that is up to you.
It's a tough line to walk, no doubt about that. But we may do all right. So far, anyway. He's friendly enough unless you speak ill of the board. Get the sense he doesn't care for Groundbreaker much. Not that he would, being a board man and all. He's our liaison. Yep, Groundbreaker's the only real independent port. Aside from us, there's just tramp freighters and wildcat miners. Seems like every year the board's offices get bigger and their ships take up more of the landing base. Haven't seen nearly as many tramp crews this year. Sure thing. Maybe. Most of the shipping traffic in the system passes through Groundbreaker. Every couple of months, we even get a big interstellar freighter. 2 biggest operations are the board. That is, Halcyon Holdings and Sublight Salvage. But there are independent operators around the promenade deck. Most of those jobs are going to take you off station, though. Commandant Sanita might have a couple of folks she needs killed. Bad folks, I mean. Not regular folks. She'll be at the security desk behind me. Chief Junlei might have an errand needs running. She's all tied up trying to fix our heat problem. You'll find her in engineering.
No kidding? I'd love to get a look at this old girl's innards. I bet they're real twisty and weird. In a good way.
Happy to help. That's my job, after all.
You're real good at it, too.
Well, thank you, miss. It's nice to be recognized. Yep.
Can we move this along? I have a certain, matter I'd like to attend to, Captain.
Are you pulling my leg? You must be one of them long-haul freighters from outside the colony. Well, I won't hold it against you. Goes like this. Back on Earth, before the crossing, the powers that be were selling off stakes in distant star systems they thought had potential. A bunch of companies decided to throw in together and form the Halcyon Holdings Corporation, then buy up the rights to this here colony. That group's what we now call the Board. Groundbreaker was one of the original colony vessels to come over on the crossing, a few years before her sister ship, the Hope. Once everybody'd been de-thawed and dropped dirt side, the original crew of the Groundbreaker decided they rather liked the spacefaring life. I guess that was the start of our independent spirit. Now, here we are. Glad to help. They strip the parts from derelict ships and abandoned outposts. There's some that say they make the derelicts and encourage folks to abandon their steads. Sublight gives me the creeps. I've known folks who went to work for them and just vanished. They're on the promenade run by a woman named Lilia Hagen. I'm only telling you so you know to avoid them. All right. The fence. You'll find her in the rest and go, on your left when you enter the promenade. Make sure you bring an empty belly. Be seeing you.
This is it. Security. I can check the departures register to find out which crew the Scholar, shipped in and out with. I could spend hours reflecting on the secret workings of the universe. So, tell me what's on your mind. Yes, well, now that we're here, can we check in with security? I'd like to track down that Scholar.
Huh? I picked up this weird signal the other day. It was coming from Monarch.
Here we go again. No one lives on Monarch. It's a wasteland. You were hearing things.
No, seriously. There was a lot of static at first, but then this voice.
Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story.
Try not to be distracted by the glare of the adverts. Lots of unsavory types about.
I'm not going anywhere. You can't keep me out of there.
Please, Dr. Finhill.
Can't say I've seen you before. I take it you're a freighter captain? If you're here to better yourself, you'll have to wait. We're having a spot of trouble with our delivery service. Sure is. You need a deft hand to straighten a busted nose or sparkle up those not-so-pearly whites? I'm your gal. Of course, there's not much cosmetic improvement going on at the moment, not without my mechanicals. Where the law is Irian anyway? Sure. How do you think we keep this pile of junk in the sky? It costs bits, and a little prettying up brings in a fair few of them. Or it would, if I had my dang mechanicals. I'm expecting our delivery fellow to stop through with medical supplies and service auto mechanicals. Name's Captain Irion. A brave idiot with a penchant for getting himself delayed. Sometimes by dates, usually by bandits. I'd be grateful if you'd spare the time. We need his delivery soon as yesterday. Last he told me, he was taking a shortcut by Scylla, an asteroid in the Charybdis cluster. That's where I'd start, were I the adventuring type. You look out, though. The place is probably crawling with outlaws.
BNP, I can't believe it's not forced. It's unbelievable how good it is.
Thought there'd be more machinery. Must be housed on a sub-level.
I could spend all day in here and not have looked at half the best stuff. It's all pretty worn, though.
Junlei Tennyson. I'm captain around here, but chief to my friends. Hope you don't mind the formal introduction. Groundbreaker doesn't see many visitors. I heard we had someone in impound. Wish I could help. I gave the bureaucrats a motive authority over freight traffic, and it rankles them good when I challenge it. Just so we understand each other, I'm the final word on the ship. The Mardits, the crew, the engineers, their family. I hope there won't be any problems while you're visiting. Good. Don't go making trouble, and chances are you won't find any. That's how I like it here. So what brings you to Groundbreaker? I'm curious, even though 9 times out of 10 the answer's just passing through. Interesting. The powers that be paint an ugly picture of Monarch. Critters and such. Maybe someone in the promenade can get you the right weapon for the job. We see a lot of the same faces coming and going. Most of them board spies and corporate sprats. Makes it hard to trust outsiders. You seem different, so welcome aboard.
What? I didn't think you just...
Parvati, is it? That's a lovely name. What can I do for you?
I was just thinking, I haven't got much experience working with actual real spaceships, Miss Junlei. Chief Junlei.
Junlei is fine.
Okay. Since you run a whole space station, I was wondering if... Well, maybe you could teach me some things. I could message you later, maybe?
I'd be happy to make the time, Parvati. You can ask me anything.
Right. In person. Sure thing, Captain. Wow, great. I'll do that then. Messages. Later. Oh, your name's pretty too. I should have said... Sorry. I like it. Honest. Sorry. Couldn't have done it without your moral support, Captain.
Now, if there's nothing else, there are other parts of the ship begging for my attention.
This is Halcyon News.
CNP pancake mix. Downward climbers, no thank you. Seriously. Aftertaste the rainbow.
Unless you're here to file an incident report or to inquire about the bounty posting, I must kindly ask you to clear out. The Mardet's offices aren't for leisure time nor loitering. Got a hot one for you. Captain Gunnar McRed. Just 26 hours old. The posting, that is, not the criminal. Allegations include several counts of flying under the influence, carrying open alcoholic containers, failure to pay docking fees, resisting arrest, and assaulting not one but 2 officers. Kicked one right in the kneecap while he poked the other in the eyes. McRed's lucky we're too backlogged right now to hunt him down ourselves. But if our resources clear up and we catch him before some contractor does, I fully plan to lock him in ISO with them 2 officers he wounded, thinking he won't like that one bit. Last tip we got pointed toward the back bays. You want the reward? Do the legwork. Oh, I will. Soon as the chief approves the personnel reorg required for a bounty dispatch. So, in about 3 to 7 weeks. You and about 6 other enterprising mavericks. It's only a matter of time before someone brings me McRed's head, or his lucky lighter, as proof of kill. I do hope you're the lucky hunter, though.
Hi there. Haven't seen you around before. What can Groundbreaker security do for you today? Chief Tennyson don't generally hire outsiders for station jobs, but you could try asking at Sublight Salvage. They got an office on the far end of the promenade deck. Anything else I can help you with, mister? We can't just let anyone walk in here. I wouldn't be, well, it's not... we just don't. Maybe if you clear an open bounty and get in good with Commandant Sunita, or help Chief Tennyson fix this heat, That might warrant a thank you tour or something. All right.
Left hands, Cap.
There it is. Just yank the drive, and I'll do the rest. Now that we have the data cartridge, I can finally find out where that scholar I'm looking for ended up. Got it. His name is Reginald Cheney, and he joined a sublight salvage crew. Only he's not listed on the return manifest. Must have made landfall somewhere he wasn't supposed to. Ah, yes. Here. There's a domicile on Monarch in Fallbrook, rented to the same bit card he used to buy his seat on the salvage ship. I should have guessed. What better place to lay low if you wish to avoid the authorities? Oh, it's nothing. I suppose I really didn't have much faith in actually finding him. Was a bit of a long shot, wasn't it? I admit it was a bit of a long shot, but when you've spent as many hours as I have in contemplation of the universe's secrets, you sometimes get a sense for these things.
Sorry about the heat. Chief Tennyson will get the radiators fixed soon. Of course, this heat sure makes a zero-G... Oh, and it's not the best choice, it's Spacer's choice. Taste the freedom. A lot of slogans to keep track of. Sometimes I forget. Heard of it? My orientation aether wave showed that famous Saltuna cannery, which I'm sure smells as good as it looks.
That's true.
Yeah. I hope they're gonna be okay.
That's a Spacer's choice, Spirit. Take what you have, polish it up, and make the best of it. So, what can I get you? Some soap? Everyone look. Have a look.
Stampede worst.
What's going on with you lately? You seem down.
Worst.
Board patrol nickel.
You look like someone who's taken their share of cuts and bruises. Need some armor? We also have a line of specialized melee weapons. For those times you have to repel. Not me, but it's in my blood. After the crossing, my family worked Eridanos, indentured to the corporations. Not from around here, are you? After leaving Earth, you worked a local gas giant from a floating refinery. Dangerous work. I was born into corporate labor, but I'm the first one of my family to buy my way out. That's why I settled on Groundbreaker. It's the last bastion of freedom.
Miss Lilia takes good care of us, see? The authorities stay off our tail.
Oh, neat! They got stuff in here I ain't seen in ages.
This should prove life interesting, to say the least.
Welcome to Sublight Salvage and Shipping, a legitimate business for legitimate consumers. You the one flying the unreliable? Miss Lily has been expecting you. I'll unlock the door. Sure am. A few years back, they got me started on simple acquisitions. You know those latches they put on cargo bays ain't worth a damn? These days, I stick to HQ and look after Miss Lilia.
So you're the new captain in town. I was hoping you'd make your way to my office. Saves me the work of hunting you down. Lilia Hagen, CEO and Executive Director of Aggressive Operations. I'm guessing you already know about Sublight, otherwise you wouldn't have come. Charmed. It's nice to see the Unreliable again. Useful ship. Hawthorne was my contractor. I'd recognize that leaky boat of his anywhere. I didn't ask. I have a salvage job for someone light on corporate ties with a reliable set of wings. But there's a catch.
Just like in the serials.
If you have a nav key to Stellar Bay, the job's yours. Interested? First, an embargo that's been active ever since the board pulled its forces off-world. Few regulations, plenty of freedom. And second, all the goodies that no one had time to pack. I like that initiative, but ease back on the throttle. Gladys at the Rest and Go might have what you need. If there's anything else, be quick about it. Time is bits. These days, the scrap business all but runs itself. Gives me the time to expand our interests into other sectors, where I can let my hair down. Our field is persuasive acquisitions. At least that's how my legal advisors tell me to phrase it. Not all of our salvage is abandoned when we find it. Sometimes it takes a polite conversation and a shot across the bow. You know, legal formalities. Good boy. Knew you'd understand. Very. I have this thing about numbers in spreadsheets. Grids in general.
I like to think of myself as the last honest businesswoman in Halcyon, but I'll settle for being the most organized one. Be seeing you. Make sure you aren't followed on your way out.
Miss Lilia takes good care of us. The authorities stay off our trails.
C&P chicken and potatoes. At C&P, we know our C&P.
What seems to be the problem? Not without dispensation from Chief Junlei, I fear. We don't have the ability to manufacture our own medical supplies here on Groundbreaker. Regrettably, we are dependent on the board for such mundane items as bandage. We'd nearly signed a supply agreement with that. Take care.
Ooh, can we rent an upstairs room?
We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story.
How do you do? And welcome to the Rest and Go. We used to be the Go and Rest, but folks never knew when to leave. Sorry. Business has been slow. Anything to occupy the time. Of course. Most of our supplies come and go through merchants. Company ships and salvage runs are the only traffic we tend to get. I try and steer clear of that creepy fellow in the moon mask. If there's a cost to being a company man, he paid it in spades. Oh, you can't miss her. Right behind you, number 2. First unit on the left, or second unit from the right, depending on which direction you count from.
Bless my heart. A stranger come knocking on a poor old woman's door. You here for a particular reason? Or did the neighbors tell you how good my sugar cookies are? Made without a single natural ingredient, or an oven. Just like store-bought. Those have been the height of illegality since Stellar Bay turned their noses up at the board. You and I could be thrown to the void just for discussing such a transaction. Lucky for us, Groundbreaker's a free port. We're outside of the board's control. For the time being, at least. Now, I only have the one nav key. And they're hard to come by these days. It won't be cheap. If you find yourself lacking in the bits, I might have an opportunity you'd be interested in. Phineas, that old kook. He was quite the dancer back in his prime, did he tell you? Real light on his feet. Real light in the wallet, too. He still owes me a small fortune. Laws. Maybe I should charge you double. Well, I find I'm in need of a ship captain with a little moral flexibility. Might be this could help out the Groundbreaker, as well as earn some bits. But if you've got qualms... Do you know Edna, over in engineering? Sweet as a pea, that one. On occasion, she'll pass along transmissions I might find interesting. She sent me a recording of a distress signal she'd scraped from the Groundbreaker's comm array. Curious thing is, it came from an outpost called Roseway. And Auntie Cleo abandoned that place years ago. Can't say I know for sure. Maybe it never really was.
Sounds like someone poking into somewhere they shouldn't be got into a spot of trouble.
Comm centers don't operate themselves, Captain. Someone had to have sent that distress call manually.
Those corps are cleverer than all get out. Might have been a ruse to keep the rest of the board from sniffing around. You've got an ear for intrigue and a nose for bits. I like that. Here's a copy of the SOS recording, complete with the coordinates. If you should find a secret worth selling, might be I could find a buyer. Corporate bigwigs will pay top bit for inside information on their competitors. The more we got the corps fighting each other, the less time they got to meddle in our affairs. Don't forget to come find old Gladys when you're done. Might want to acquaint yourself with Junlei Tennyson, Groundbreaker's chief. She's been trying to get a handle on this heat problem we've got. You'll find her fretting in engineering. I'd say she's a sweet girl, but law forfend someone call me a liar.
I don't know, ma'am. She seemed pretty neat to me.
Well, aren't you sweet? And just her type, too.
What? What's that supposed to mean?
Forget I said anything. Anytime, sweetheart. You know where to find me. Here, take a candy with you.
CNP, I can't believe it's not forced. It's unbelievable how good it is.
This is Halsey.
What can I do for you, Captain? Groundbreaker's radiators need replacement parts. They're dumping superheated air into my ship. Only the board has access to new parts, and I won't let them swindle me into a corner. None. Every time I give in to the board, Groundbreaker loses its freedom. Soon there won't be anything left. I can't allow that. The board isn't helping, and my resources are spread thin. If I don't get those radiators back online, Groundbreaker, everyone on board, will be cooked alive. Reasonable, huh? That's the best news I've heard all day. According to my grandmother's old schematics, the parts we need should be in the back bays. I keep diligent records of station repairs, requisitions, and available assets, just like my grandmother taught me. The station's radiators haven't changed since her time, and her records say the parts should be there. I trust them. Sorry, I forgot not everyone knows this ship like I do. The back bays are on a lower deck, long abandoned and a haven for miscreants now. You must not have been here long. In Halcyon, new parts come by way of interstellar freighters from Earth, and the board monopolizes that kind of trade. That means I'd have to negotiate with the board. I've already given them the shops, the docking fees, and a damn embassy. Fatalism has got no home on Groundbreaker. We aim to weather the storm no matter how bad it gets. Between us captains, I try to avoid sounding as bleak as you. Even if I'm feeling down, the crew doesn't need to hear it. Those idiots are immune to reason, and they don't much care if the station melts to pieces. They're content to die last. If you could find some way to solve this without violence, I'd prefer that. But more than anything, we need those parts. I have. One of my engineers, plus a small security detail. They didn't come back. I can't afford to lose any Mardits on this job. No offense, but a freelancer like you is more dispensable. Nice and pragmatic. Thanks for understanding. Good. Once you've obtained the parts, we can proceed to the next phase of repairs.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly